What it do, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought it would be really cool to talk about my 10 favorite eyeshadow palettes that I think scream fall. Now, in doing this, of course, what I did is just shopped my stash, and I recently kind of reconfigured some of my makeup storage, so I have a little bit more room when it comes to my eyeshadow palettes, which is necessary. Okay, necessary. So I thought it would be really cool after I did that, and I actually was able to see all of them, and I could see what was really cool for fall and what maybe I think would be separate for all of the other seasons. So yeah, I picked out 11, and I will be talking about kind of, I guess, one extra, but there's a reason that one's an extra. So yeah, if you're interested in this makeup look in general, I aim to have this video up on Friday if at all possible, and it will be kind of a chatty get ready with me, mental health get ready with me situation. So yeah, I hope you guys are excited about that. I will have it linked down below if it is available when you are watching this video, hopefully, unless life gets in the way per usual. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, the one that I'm going to say is kind of the extra, I'm just going to knock that one out immediately because, yeah. And this one is from Midas Cosmetics. This is their Artistry Volume 2 palette. Now, I put this as a bonus because this brand right now is no longer available. They went out of business, although it seems like they may be trying to come back. So that's why I wanted to put this as the bonus. I think that this is a very beautiful 6-pan that's extremely curated, and you get the best of all the greeny, grungy tones. You could do some neutral looks, some green looks. I love this palette. I think this palette is beautiful, and I just wanted to go ahead and shout it out in the event that the brand comes back, or in the event that they still have some stock, because I do remember them saying that they were going to sell out of all the stock that they had. And so I will try to link it down below if the website is still up, or if they particularly still have this listing available. So I will do my absolute best per usual to link any and everything that I can down below. Now, these next two, there's some uniquenesses about them as well, and then we'll kind of stop having unique products, and we'll just be able to talk into them. So this one is unique because this is a Russian based brand, which means right now, because of life events and choices, they are only selling to those who live in Russia. So I just wanted to put that out there. But this is from what is the brand's name in English? I can't think of the name. I will put it on the screen for you all. But basically, this is a very once again curated, pretty greeny, bronzy brown 6-pan. Now, the difference between this 6-pan and, like, let's say the Midas 6-pan is that this one pretty much I can't do a multitude of looks. This has to go in my crease, and this has to go in my outer V. But if we're being really honest, this should be going in my crease because it's that light on my skin tone. It really doesn't show up anything. So for me, I don't get as much variety with this palette. But if you have a lighter complexion, you might get a lot of variety. I will say these textures are kind of interesting. You get different textures where this one's like a more crumbly, like very foiled metallic situation, whereas these other three are like more satiny metallics, but they're all very pretty. And then this one actually has some glitter in it as well. So for me, I think this is a pretty palette, but one, because the brand is in Russia, obviously I'm not purchasing, but then also because of, I feel, the lack of depth that they tend to have in their palettes. I picked this one up because everybody was talking about them. I wanted to try out the formula, and I think it's a nice formula. Is it like a must-have? No. So this is going to be my only palette from them, but like I said, this video is all about my top 10 fall, and this truly is one of the top 10 fall because I don't really have all that many fall palettes. I literally pretty much only have these. So yeah, the next one is kind of an oddball out because it's the only non-indie palette that I have in this video. So in the event that you prefer more mainstream brands that are more easily accessible in like a Sephora or Ulta, this would be the brand for you. And this is the Nars palette. Now, I picked this up last minute. I picked it up actually from a third-party seller, but this is their Climax palette. This is a beautiful palette, and this helped to kind of remind me that Nars has a fantastic quality, and so it's actually making me really think about picking up their holiday palette that they have coming up. But this has, once again, really pretty grungy browns and greens with some really pretty shimmers. What I will say, once again, I do have a limitation here, as I do with this baby, because of the matte variety and the lack of depth. But I am very much excited with this, and I've played with this quite a bit, where even I would just pick one of these two, throw this in my crease, and then I would actually throw the Rowan Quad, the 1111, and I would throw that on my lid, and I loved those looks. So even sometimes it's not about the full palette being accessible, but just having a shade or two that really works for what I am envisioning. And so yeah, this is yet another palette that had to be in my top 10 when it comes to my personal collection of eyeshadow palettes, and them specifically being fall themed. Now we're all into indie palettes. So this one is from Sydney Grace and their collaboration with Mel Thompson. And I find a lot of people maybe forget about how fall themed grungy this palette really is. Yes, it has some pops with these pastels, but the true colors, a majority of the colors, there's that grunginess to them, and for that I do tend to reach for this palette in the fall. This shade, Walking Stick, was my favorite when I was testing it out and reviewing it, and it still to this day is my favorite. I also love these really dark tones, and these purples, they really just turn nicely muted and deep on my skin tone. Even this what is it, the green Mantis, I don't find that it's overly bright on my skin tone, so that this could be a very easy fall palette. If you did not know, they still are selling this, and I believe all of the proceeds that would have gone to Mel are still going to her family, so I will definitely link this down below. And if you, like me, you can always still use Mel's codes. I've been doing that every so often when I can remember, just to support her family, in a way to remind them that their mother, their wife, their daughter was really special to everybody that she touched in different ways. Next is from Melt Cosmetics. This is their Gemini palette, and I will say I, for some reason, didn't see my Rust palette. I would have definitely put the Rust palette in here, but I didn't see it. But this is the one that I saw, so we're going to talk about her. I think this palette is beautiful. Brownie tones are my absolute favorite, but the greens are nice and grungy, kind of swampy, and so they really remind you of fall. Like I said, I would have also put in the Rust palette, just because to me, yes, the Rust palette is very neutral, but it has that undertone to it that I think just works beautifully for fall. In my opinion, when it comes to fall looks, I want my browns to either have a yellow undertone or to be straight up neutral. And then once we get into the winter, then I want more cool toned undertone products. But this palette is beautiful, and like I said, if I could find my Rust, I would have talked about it too, but I don't know where it is, which is not cute at all. Anyways, let's keep going. Next is actually something I think will be surprising for maybe some of you guys, and I actually pulled out my Sigma Cosmetics or Sigma Beauty Cinderella palette, and I think that this palette is more fall themed and kind of fall inspired than you would really think just first impressions. You get this beautiful kind of six pan that is very neutral brown heavy. Then you get some swampy kind of deeper colors with this green and this blue, and then these purples are just perfect for fall as well. I think this could be like the perfect fall to winter palette, because yes, these are some cooler tones, but I find that they still could be warmed up with some of these browns kind of being played in with the look. So that's why I pulled this palette. I definitely think that this is going to be a palette that I will get some use out of in this fall season. Now, I actually think that this is no longer available, but this is my Lunar Beauty Moonspell Volume 1 palette. I was obsessed and I do not say that word a lot with this palette when I first got it. I think this is one of their best palettes that they have released to date. These two shades are my absolute favorite, but if I had to choose one, it would definitely be Mary. That metallic is beautiful on the eyes. It is a like neutral tone, but it's a unique neutral metallic. And then these shades are really, really pretty. I definitely wish there was more depth because I find Winifred is quite light, and I find Kiki is kind of the perfect crease color. I wish there was something darker to be like an outer V, kind of maybe faux liner type situation. But I think all of these shades scream fall and are really, really pretty. Of course, I love the packaging. I love that it is Halloween themed. And yeah, there you go. If it's available, if I can find it, I will have it linked down below for you all. Another one that is kind of on the fritz of being available sometimes and then not others is actually from Juvia's Place. This is their Tribe palette. I find sometimes I actually forget about this palette as I don't really pay too much more attention to Juvia's Place lately. The brand owner is just sketchy, and so I'm just not going to support that. But anyways, I love these tones and these colors. I think even though you get this bright lime green, it really is not super pigmented in my opinion. And so it really kind of works beautifully with these more fall-like colors and depths in the bottom 6 shades. So I absolutely love this palette. I would definitely recommend it. And I hope that I can get some more use out of it in this upcoming fall. Then we got a new baby. Okay, I pulled out the stops on this one, and this is actually the Heather Austin Adept Cosmetics palette. I think that this is a beautiful fall potential themed palette. Not only with these mattes being super obviously fall themed, right? You get these grungy greens and then you get these beautiful neutrals, but the shimmers are fantastic and they have more diversity and variety than what you can see just in pan. For me, my favorite is definitely Hey Y'all. It can pull purple, but can also pull, in my opinion, a brown kind of color. It just really depends on what you put in your crease. And this PA02 is like a really deep brown with like a purple undertone type situation, so it really plays off of that shade beautifully. This video chat is like a fall just a dream when it comes to metallic. It's like a orange base, but it definitely has that green and red in it as well, so it plays beautifully with these two greens. This palette is just beautiful, and I've talked about it enough, so I'm not going to go too in, but I definitely would recommend looking into this palette as well if you are interested. And definitely if you prefer a lot more shimmers, I think out of all of the palettes that I've showcased, that is like the best shimmer quality that I can talk about. It's a fantastic shimmer quality. Okay, 2 more palettes left, and this one is a European based brand, and it is called 50/50 Makeup. This is their autumn palette. At one point they were doing a new palette for each season, and this was the palette that made me pull the trigger. And what I love about this palette is that yes, it is neutral heavy, specifically with the mattes, and yes, the shimmers aren't foiled. They're very much just like shimmery basic metallics. You're not going to really get too much unless you foil it or you put some glitter glue under it. But I love the variety and I love the tones, and for that reason I kept this in my collection. Now these browns aren't too deep. I definitely would say Chestnut is a very light shade on me, and Hollow's Eve is really the crease color that I prefer, but this Books of Shadows is a black, so I know that's going to deepen out my outer V and I'm going to love it. And then this Poison, favorite shade, really good palette, and this is an easy kind of work appropriate shimmer quality, so that's why I love this palette, and hopefully I get some use out of this one as well as all of these other ones in this upcoming fall. And then last but certainly not least is like the OG Booty Guru fall palette. I'm sure you guys know about this, and if you haven't picked it up, I'm sure there is a reason why, but this is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. Now I picked it up more so recently when it mysteriously appeared on her website, and I can't say I'm mad. I cannot say I'm mad. These mattes are beautiful. This, of course, being my favorite, it's that mustardy Dijon type matte. These metallics are really pretty as well. I love these like bronzy ones, and the gold ones aren't bad either. I think this palette is really pretty. The pop of teal I find in this palette is just annoying, whereas some of these other palettes I feel like it was a little bit more cohesive in a way because it made sense. This one I find that it just doesn't really make sense, but I'm not mad at it. I definitely like this palette. Clearly it's here. So yeah, that's that. And of course, when it comes to Natasha Denona, you guys know I absolutely love her palettes, and I love buying them because then I can shop my stash of Natasha Denona and like kind of create my own perfect palette for whatever the season, whatever the time period, whatever it is. So yeah, that's my palettes. I hope I actually counted correctly, and it's 10 plus my 1 bonus. I would love to hear down below which palettes you have, which palettes you actually would recommend, and then also if there are any fall, autumn palettes that you would recommend to me, let me know. You guys know this is my time to shine, and why not have some fun talking to you guys about some fun makeup products. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on Friday with this makeup look. And yeah, I'll see you guys then. Bye guys.